Good morning. Welcome to Houston Newsmakers. During this time when the world's attention is once again focused on the Middle East, it's been a bit more than a week since a U.S. drone killed General Qasem Soleimani. Long considered the #2 man in the Iranian government, the shockwaves were immediate. They continue to this day. Was it warranted? What kind of payback will be coming from Iran? Will Congress act to curb this president's powers to launch attacks? Many questions. We won't take them all. But I'm joined this morning by Joe Barnes, the Bonner Means Baker Fellow at Baker Institute at Rice University. Joe knows all about this subject. He knows this region well, too, having been a career diplomat for 14 years, including time in the Middle East, been at Rice since '95. Mr. Barnes, thank you for coming in this morning. We won't talk about the wisdom of the strike, the drone strike by the president, because the politicians will do that, and they'll do that a lot in the coming weeks. But from your standpoint, what about this strike may be considered positive for the United States?
Well, yeah, I mean, positively, apparently, the assassination or the killing of Soleimani has sort of put Tehran on warning. And we can see that by the way they responded in the first instance, militarily, by the missile attacks on U.S. bases. There's a lot of stories out there that they may have indirectly let us know that these places might be targeted. There were a modest amount of missiles. So to the extent that Iran responded in a relatively modest way, the administration might have sort of set a red line. But there are cons in addition to this.
Yeah, and I want to get into that as well. What factors do you look at when you take into account the problems that come about as a result of this killing, short-term and long-term?
All right. In the short term, we're clearly going to have a problem with the Iraqi government at this point. The Iraqi parliament passed I think a resolution calling for U.S. troops to leave. Whether or not that we're actually are going to leave is unclear at this point. Right. But the main point is that we clearly made the U.S.-Iraqi relationship very, very difficult, because remember, you know, we killed this man on Iraqi soil. Right. As he had just after he arrived at Baghdad airport. So we have problems with it. Raises problems with the Iraqi the government. It also leads to the possibility of further retribution. Now, this retribution is probably not going to be like the one we've seen, a direct attack on U.S. bases by the Iranian military itself.
They've been pretty good over the last number of years at being able to distance themselves by using their proxies.
Yes, they're sort of a master at this, in fact. And that's where I expect to see things in the weeks and months ahead. Now, the problem arises here, which is how will the Trump administration respond to such attacks, particularly if a U.S. individual is killed? Because recall, this last series of escalations occurred after a Iranian-backed militia killed an American contractor, right? So the question arises, how will the Trump administration deal with proxy attacks that lead to U.S. fatalities in the future? And that is unknown at this point.
We have a lot of potential for more military conflict of some sort or another. This is obviously an oil-rich region. How will we be impacted in the United States as a result of that? I saw oil prices spike up a little bit. They settled back down. The fact that the United States is a less oil-dependent than it used to be, does that factor into?
Yes, it does. It does factor into it somewhat, right? We are, we're probably net zero or close to zero in terms of imports and exports on oil, although we still import certain kinds of oil, even as we export others. And our economy is less energy intensive. But that doesn't mean that there wouldn't be any impact in the United States, or more importantly, perhaps in the global economy, were, let's say, there to be a naval conflict between the United States and Iran in the Straits of Hormuz or nearby. That would probably lead to, if there was such a conflict, it would lead to a sharp increase in oil prices, although we don't know the duration. It depends on how long the conflict lasts, for instance.
We talked a little bit before we started taping this about the Middle East over the last number of years. It has just not been settled at all. There are a lot of things that have been going on here. It's a really complicated question, is it not? What is it going to take? You were there. What kind of progress is being made towards stability in the Middle East? Or in this case, I know the president said he made this killing to stop war instead of having war, but I'm not sure, based upon what I'm seeing, that that is actually the case.
Well, look, American foreign policy in the Middle East of the last 20 years hasn't really produced a glowing record of success. There's been intermittent successes, but the truth of the matter is that at least since our invasion of Iraq in 2003, it's been a violent and dangerous region, although it was frankly dangerous before. The point is, it's not clear that these U.S. interventions have substantially or materially improved the situation. On the other hand, you could argue if we hadn't done anything, maybe the situation would be worse.